Ladies and gentlemen, RCs and RDs and RVPs from San Diego, California, single father, made a decision. He wanted more for his life. Looked at ACN, got started, and never turned back. Built a large organization in Southern California and in many states and a few other countries we've heard about also. Miss Marie's part of his organization. She's always fireball. She said, Mr. Thomas, I had to listen to Mr. Lewis because he changed my life. And he's a life changer. Without further ado, regional director from San Diego, California, the one and only Mr. Julian Lewis.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. How you doing today?
Fine, sir. Excellent, excellent. Now we got you on the call.
Man, it's beautiful. It's back to normal San Diego weather. We had a little bit of rain for a second, but it's gorgeous outside. It's getting bright earlier in the morning.
Yes.
So we're about to turn those clocks. We're gonna in a second, but I'm so excited to be on the call. Thank you for everything that you said, and I just want to let everyone know that the things you said about me aside from the single father part, the success in this company is because of the system, because of the great team, the leaders that I've been able to identify. It's not me. I got to assist some amazing people, and I found people better than me to do so. And in Mr. Thomas, he is a legend. He's a living legend. He's been able to help be the reason why so many people in this company and in this industry have been able to have success. And I'm grateful to be able to have him as a personal mentor and a friend. So thank you for everything you do and allowing me to be on the call today to be able to serve people. And guys, we're gonna keep things very simple today because I was racking my brain. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. I know Mr. Curtis Evans did a great job yesterday, and I wanted to follow it up because I was thinking about, why don't people have the success that they want? Mr. Evans talked about what's easy to do is also easier not to do, and we understand that. But there's also a few things that I want you to know about having big success, because we think about it and we overthink it. And most people, especially nowadays, being bombarded with everything from media to social media to the news to everything that we're bombarded with, to what's going on in our household, what's going on at our career, what's going on with our church, our community. All the things are bombarding us. We tend to overthink, and it paralyzes us from forward movement. So what I wanted to talk about today, and what we're going to be focusing on, if you're taking notes, is how to create big success. How to create big success in anything you do, including ACN. And I want you to think about this. Big success, most people make a mistake in thinking you need to do big things to have big success, right? It sounds cute, but it's not the case. In order to have big success is created in the small habits. Okay, so if you're taking notes, you want to write that down. Big success is created in the small habits. So the first thing we want to get clear on is this morning, I'm going to help you to rewire your brain, like right now. Is that okay? I'm going to go right in your head, and I'm going to help you to I know Pat Robinson looked like you're going to do what? Yes, I'm going to help you to rewire your brain. So I'm going to do that, and then when we get to that, afterwards, I think this is going to help. Some of these things are going to be a refresher to you, but here's what I do know. As you grow personally, the things that are said over and over again take on a different meaning. We all know that, right? So we're going to talk about some fundamentals that you're probably aware of, but we're going to do a quick deep dive in there so that you can get some results. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a video that I want all of you to take a look at. It's incredible. It's only about 2 minutes and 38 seconds. But I want you to understand this because I've mentioned it before, but you can see it visually and understand that this is true for all of us. Because remember, why aren't people having the success? I think part of it is because they're nervous or scared. So let's talk about this a little bit.
Reset the nervous system and the connection between your mind, body, and spirit. There is no physiological difference in your body state, physiologically speaking, between being nervous and being excited. Zero difference. When you feel excited, the same thing happens. Your heart races, the blood leaves your digestive tract and goes up to your major organs. Your armpits start to sweat, your throat feels tight, your hands get clammy. Exact same physiological experience, excitement and nervous. The only difference between a situation that makes you excited and a situation that makes you nervous is what your brain is saying about what's happening. Given that physiologically it's the exact same experience, is it possible to trick the brain in a moment when you're nervous and make your brain think you're excited? And if you did trick your brain in a moment when you were nervous to believe that you were actually excited, would it impact your ability to perform? And the answer is yes, you can trick your brain in a situation where you're nervous to believe that you're actually excited. And yes, it profoundly impacts your ability to perform. And the reason can be explained by chemistry and physiology and neurology. If you get too nervous and you start to get too worked up and your thoughts start to spin and your body stays in a fight or flight state, your brain releases cortisol. And cortisol impacts your brain's ability to focus. When you say, I'm excited, even if you feel nervous, your brain buys it and doesn't release cortisol, which allows you to focus on what you need to do. Your brain learns patterns. And even though you may feel stuck, even though you may feel hopeless, you're not broken. You have patterns of thinking and patterns of behavior that are broken for where you are and where you want to go in life. And what's super exciting is that when you start to think about changing your life through the lens of just looking for patterns, breaking them and replacing them, it becomes less personal. I think we make a huge mistake in life. We make the mistake of believing that because our problems are big or because our dreams are so big, that somehow the solution to achieving those dreams or to solving those problems must be enormous too, when in truth it's the opposite. The larger the problem, the smaller the solution. The bigger the dream, the smaller the actions are that you need to start taking.
I hope you guys caught that, because a lot of times, I want you to think about anything that you know of in extreme success or performance. If you're looking at two sprinters in the Olympics, the one that wins do they win by a mile or do they usually win by a small gap? It's usually a small gap. If you look at a horse race, it's a Kentucky Derby, or out here in Del Mar, it's a small gap. If you look at when two teams play, it's in the highest level of gameplay, whether it's in the NFL or the NBA, it's usually a small gap. It's usually only a few buckets that determine whether they're going to win or not. It's only a difference between yards. If they have one or two turnovers, it's usually really small. In the NFL, that means the difference, maybe a few penalties that impact or affect. And if you saw the Super Bowl, you would agree that a few of those penalties changed the game, where that the team that lost should have been the team that won, but because they had a few penalties, they even had turnovers, and they're the first team in NFL history to get as many turnovers as they did in their way that helped them and still lost. Okay, so it's the very small things. It's not the big things. We think it's the big things. So I want you to get microscopic, because when you start to think of it as big, you have to do something big. Big in our minds becomes overwhelming. But learning how to look and identify the patterns that you need to apply or you need to erase takes the personal out of it. It takes you feeling emotional out of it. You're just looking at the things in your life that you need to change. So one of the things that needs to change is your understanding of what that chemical reaction is that we call nervousness. And you need to rewrite that as excitement, as Mel Robbins explained in the video. Just by saying, I'm excited. You know how many times when I first started ACN, anybody would come up on stage, the first thing that the presenter would say, who's excited? Who's excited? One of the top producers in all of ACN right now, Patrick Mazer, always says, who's excited? How many of you are excited? The reason being is because if you understand that chemical reactions of nervousness are the same as excited, the more you repeat, I'm excited, when you're in that nervous state, you will actually create excitement. You will block the cortisol for being produced, and you'll be able to stay focused instead of not being focused. So as silly as that might sound, that is the way the brain works. So you have to make it a point that when you're nervous, you want to think excited. I'm excited. Say it out loud, even if no one's there. If you're about to do a call and you're nervous, say, oh my gosh, I'm excited. The more you start to do that, you reprogram. Remember I said I'm going to help you to reprogram your brain. You reprogram your brain to be excited. So that is extremely crucial. So that's the first step, because I was thinking, why is it that more people aren't successful? We can get into the ins and outs of ACN right now, but I think most of you understand that. And the only difference is, and I want you to be sure to really understand, I don't care whether it's Dean Turali. I don't care whether it's Shaquille Cooper. I don't care if it's the Burts or if it's the Mazers. The Burts and the Mazers are two separate legs of Danny Volanino. Their organizations are top producers. But if you talk to the top of the rock star organization, which are the Mazers, and you ask them their philosophy on winning, and you take note of that, and then you go to the other winning organization, which is the Coalition, which is Aaron and Chanel Burt, the only SVP couple in ACN, powerhouse, and you talk to them and you get their philosophy, you'll notice that they have differences in their philosophy. They have small tweaks in their philosophy. So why am I telling you this? Because we make a mistake in listening to these leaders and saying, oh my gosh, the reason they're winning is because they do this little difference. So this is the next thing I need you to understand. It's not the differences in their philosophy that make them win. It's not their differences. You know how many people come onto these calls and they're looking for that one thing that a leader can teach them. They're looking for that one thing that that the Cowboy's going to teach them this week. They're looking at that one thing that Swaggerty is going to teach them this week. But what they don't realize is the reason why all of those people are successful, check this out, is because they believe 100% in their philosophy. It's the belief level. It's the belief level. It's not the extra little thing that you got. It's not the script that you think is different that I say that someone else does. So because you use my script, you're going to win. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm saying this out of love, guys. You won't. The reason why my script works for me, the reason why Aaron Burt's script works for him, the reason why Patrick Mazer's script works for him, which all of ours are a little bit different. The reason why Al's works for him is because each one of us believe 100% in what we're saying. And when you catch that, that means that if you say my script, but you don't believe it 100% like I do, you're not going to get the result. If you say Aaron Burt's script 100% or not 100%, you're not going to get the result. So many people make a mistake in taking note on, oh, I liked how he said that. That's why I'm not saying it the way he's saying it. No, you're right and you're wrong. It's not the words that you're not saying the right way. It's the fact that how he's saying it is with 100% belief. Who he's being is 100% belief in his foundation or his philosophy. Therefore, when he says it, it reaches people with a different energy and they respond to it in a different manner because he believes 100%. You guys getting that? So I want to set you up with the foundation to understand that when you know that and you focus and you understand that, the next part becomes super simple. Guys, if you don't have 100% belief right now, remember what I said about the way the brain works? Nervousness and excitement are the same. The difference is what you say over and over again, repetition, to give yourself the story that you choose to apply to that chemical reaction. I posted something recently on social media on all platforms. The moment is that you free yourself from your past is the moment that you realize that your past is a narrative that you chose for yourself. It's not fact. The fact is the event that happened in the past. The story that you gave the event is something that you chose for it. It's like writing your own book. And a lot of us are writing ourselves as villains, as victims, as people that are failures, people that won't succeed. And these are stories that we're creating and applying to the fact. And then we call it fact, but it's fiction. If you were to make a movie loosely based on factual events, does that make the movie a fact? I'm gonna say that again because I don't see any answers, heads, nods, or anything. So maybe you didn't hear the question. If I made a movie or you made a movie based on historical events that took place, does that make the movie a fact? Your identity that you hold on to right now is based on facts or that are events that happen, but the stories that you tell yourself about that event is not a fact. So what the hell is an identity then? An identity is the role that you gave yourself and the meaning that you decided to place on the events that happen in your life. So if all those meanings I gave are negative, if all those meanings I gave to what happened to me come from a place of victimhood, then that means as a producer and a writer, I gave myself the role of victim in the damn movie that I am writing. Why would I do that if I'm the writer? Couldn't I write myself in as the hero? Can we agree that every hero in every movie that you've ever seen go through adversities? But what makes them the hero? They're written in as the person that has the courage to push through past the adversities and frame or reframe what they felt about what happened as something that led them to a lesson that allowed them to do what? Elevate. What stories are you telling yourself, and why do you keep telling yourself the same old, worn out story that doesn't serve you in the present? You are not the sum total of your past. What you are is a being that learns from the experiences from the past and applies the right type of awareness to what it did to you and how you're going to frame what it did to you so that you can control where you're going in the present and in the future. And I'm telling you this, guys, because once we get all this crap out of the way, it releases you from your past. The moment you realize that the narrative you keep telling yourself, your identity, is not fixed, is the moment you start to release yourself from the past and decide who you want to be today moving forward. And for some of you, that's going to help you in a way that maybe only therapy could, if you really get what I'm saying to you right now. So now that we get all that out of the way, what are the small things that you can do every single day in order to get the results? Not the big things. What are the small things? First thing is, you got to learn how to carve up your day, guys. You got to learn how to carve up your day. I don't care how busy you are. You know, I meet people that tell me how overwhelmingly busy they are, Mr. Thomas. And I kind of giggle in my mind because I remember when I started ACN working at my job, I was working 80 to 90 hours a week. I don't tell people on top of the 50 to 60 flights a year I had that every Sunday night, I had like a Dr. Seuss pile of paperwork that I had to get completed in order to start the next day of work. So there was so much that was going on in my life. At the same time, my ex and I, she just gave birth to our newborn baby girl. At the same time, I was a new father trying to navigate that situation, as well as the 80 to 90 hours a week, as well as being a leader in that with a crew that I had to manage all at the same time. So how the heck was I able to do ACN? Because I learned to carve up my day. I learned that time management was extremely important. So the first step of time management that I want to show to all of you is tracking your regular day. And this is where 99% of the people that I know that aren't paying attention, whatever you're doing right now, I hope and I pray you're paying attention. This is where they muck it up. All right. And I said muck with an M, okay, just in case you didn't hear me clearly. So they muck it up. And here's what they do. They don't track their normal day. You have to track your normal regular day. I mean, the normal regular routine you're doing right now, some of you may not be doing ACN, right? Some of you, this is your time for doing ACN from 9 a.m. to 9:45. That's your ACN for the day. Right? Because you think, well, I'm talking about track everything. Track the amount of time that you're scrolling on your phone. Track in the morning. When you wake up, you might wake up at 5:30 a.m. and you're like, yeah, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. But you're scrolling on your phone till 6:30 a.m. See, I want you to track that time. And I found an incredible tracker that all of you can. So I'm not just going to leave you there in the muck. I want you to see. So there's a tracker. It's free. You can go get this tracker. I'll show you what it is in a sec because you'll be able to pull it up. But this, what it does is you're able to track the things that you're doing, that you're working on. All right. And then you're able to set a countdown timer to work on to everything. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to track everything that you do. You're going to track that. You're going to track that for a whole day. Me personally, I did it for closer to a week. I wanted to track. And here's what I found when I first did this. Even as busy as I was wasting time. I was wasting so much time that it should have been illegal. Like the amount of time that I was wasting. You know, if you just saw someone burning money in the field, wouldn't you put them in like a crazy ward, right? Wouldn't you put them in a crazy ward if you just saw someone going every day and burning piles of money? You'd be like, bro, if you're not, man, give me the money. Don't burn it. Give it to me, right? But time is more valuable than money. And most people look like that crazy person in the field burning piles of time, doing nothing that serves you. So the first thing you want to do is track your normal day. And that means whatever you do, I don't care if you scroll and you should be taking a few minutes in the restroom, but every time you use the toilet, you're scrolling on your phone. So now you're in the restroom for 35 minutes. I need you to find, I know that sounds weird, okay, but I need you to find these things out about yourself, where you're wasting all your time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start to eliminate the crap that you don't need. And we're going to clear blocks of an hour. For now, it's just going to be an hour block a day. This is going to be productivity ACN time. We're going to clear a block of an hour a day. But in that hour, you're only going to work 45 minutes. You're only going to work 45 minutes. Now, if you're full-time, you're going to do 2 hours a day just for ACN. I'm not talking about a presentation. I'm not talking about a PBZ. I'm talking about your productive ACN time, okay? And what you're gonna do is those of you that are full-time, you're gonna do 2 hours. So that means you're gonna only work you're only gonna work 90 minutes. You're gonna have a 30 minutes worth of break. You're gonna have 90 minutes worth of work. Someone that's only doing this once is gonna have 45 minutes worth of work and 15 minutes of break. Here's what happens. You go hard. It's a 100% on, 100% off mentality. Science has proven that the way most people work is the reason why they underperform. They're working at their lowest level of performance all day. And that's why they don't get anything done. They're distracted, so they're multitasking, which I can't believe in 2022, people are actually still trying to multitask when science has proven that is it's not me saying this, that is the dumbest way to produce results is through multitasking. So if you're still doing it, cut it out. It's 2022, all right? And what you want to do is eliminate all distractions. If you have an iPhone now, you can turn it on focus across all your devices. It'll cut out all the notifications, and then you focus on what's important for that 45-minute window. Well, what are we going to be focused on in that 45 minutes? Peaking, and booking people into presentations. That's it. Peaking and booking people into presentations. Now, why am I saying that? Why didn't I say getting customers? Because I'm giving you what Julian Lewis, working 80 to 90 hours a week, did on my lunch break to create an explosion that allowed me to produce the type of income that I did in 6 months being brand new, okay? 45-minute block of time. All I did was invite. So what I'm recommending to you is for 45 minutes, all you do is peak and invite. I don't care if it's social media, whatever list. Don't get caught up in the platform. You're weird if you get caught up in the platform. So social media, what does that mean? Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, Clubhouse, the contacts on your LinkedIn, contacts on those platforms. That's 5 platforms right there. Reach out to everyone and just everyone for 45 minutes straight, peaking and booking. 100% focus, zone out on it. Here's why. All of your IBOs and all of your potential IBOs and potential customers are going to come from that particular work. You're going to book everyone into something, some sort of a presentation. And what you'll do is you'll have compounded results. If you're doing this 45 minutes a day, every single day, 5 days a week, not 7, 5 days a week, there's no way on God's green earth that you can wake up next month and not be in top production. Well, how's that the case? I heard people in top production are working, 20 hours a day. Yeah, that may be so. But what I'm telling you right now is out of that 20 hours a day, they're not working at their highest performance. And what I'm telling you as a performance expert is that if you do this, you will outproduce their 20 hours a day because you will be highly performing and focused in your activity during the 45 to 90 minutes a day. So we got to get clear on things. You know how to go from nervousness to excitement. You know, in order to have big success, it's created by small habits. You realize that tracking your time is going to expose the areas you're wasting. And you're going to be able to consolidate that and package that into at least 1 hour a day for ACN. Notice I didn't tell you to do a whole lot. That's just 5 hours a week. And out of that, you're only working 45 minutes per hour. 5 hours a week every single day can change your life. What if, because of the 5 hours a week, you're only putting in an extra 100 customers a month and an extra 20 IBOs a month that are getting qualified? What is that going to mean to you? What is that going to mean as a regional coordinator or a regional director? What would it look like if you had an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month coming in your business because of 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month? What would that look like to you? How about it would be life-changing? And if you taught that to your team and they duplicated that exact same thing, what would it look like if each one of your regional coordinators as a regional director were doing that same thing? That's bringing you up to a 5-figure a month income with everyone doing a little bit and getting paid a lot. See, this business is simple if you keep it super simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just make the decision to carve the time and then focus on applying your efforts to that 45-minute window every single day, so that 45-minute window work becomes your habit. It becomes a part of your lifestyle, and earning income and residual becomes a part of it as well, because it's associated with the work that you do. Guys, I hope you got a lot of value out of today's conference call. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, but give you as much as I could. Here's the link to the tracker. If you need it, I just posted it in the chat. And make a decision today to make this the last day that you don't have control over your life. Change the story, change the narrative, go from victim to hero in your own story that you're writing, and decide to be great. You deserve it, and your future does as well. Mr. Thomas, I'll turn the call back to you, sir.